I proclaim on this rainy day that we stop the gun violence. No truer words have ever been spoken. Please stop the gun violence. Put down the guns, pick up books. By Kyle Holbrook, 2021. Shout out to the artist Kyle Holbrook for this beautiful piece of art with a beautiful message. What's going on, good people? This your boy P9, and I'm reporting live from downtown Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida is the county seat of Duval County, and it is also the largest city in Florida in terms of population, and also the largest, get this, it's the largest city in the United States in terms of total land area. So Jacksonville is a massive city, not far from the Atlantic Ocean, in the northeastern portion of Florida. And I'm over here now at the corner of Main and Duval Street. And this building right here to my left is the Jacksonville Public Library in the cream colored brick. So I'm right here now at the core of downtown Jacksonville. And it's a little breeze in the air. There's actually thunderstorms in the forecast. It's expected to come within the next couple of hours or so. So I'm gonna try to get as much footage as I possibly can in Jacksonville. It is now 4:15 in the afternoon. As I approach Monroe Street, I'm now walking down Main Street. So one of the biggest reasons why Jacksonville is the most populous city in Florida is due in large part because Jacksonville itself is the the county seat of Duval County. But what ended up happening is that Jacksonville and Duval County consolidated into one government, basically. So with that city county consolidation, Jacksonville pretty much took on the population of the rest of the county. And so when you think about it, Jacksonville already had, you know, if Jacksonville already has 900,000 some odd people living in it, and the rest of Duval County has about 1 million people, that's basically close to 2 million people that you have living in Jacksonville when you take into consideration the consolidation of city and county. There goes the Wells Fargo skyscraper. It's probably one of the most visible buildings in the downtown Jacksonville skyline. Now heading down Forsyth Street. I'm approaching Bay Street. Now Jacksonville is situated on the St. Johns River. So there's two banks. There's the North Bank and the South Bank. Downtown is located in the north bank of the St. Johns River. Now, right over here, what I'm approaching is called the Alsop Bridge. And the Alsop Bridge crosses the St. Johns River over Highway 90. So there goes that building right there I was mentioning, that Wells Fargo Tower. Now, not only does John Alsop Bridge function as a motorist bridge, it also functions as a pedestrian bridge as well. They do have a walkway for those who want to get to the South Bank on foot. But here it is, the John T. Alsop Bridge. Now, before we get closer to the bridge, which has a clearance of 16 feet, I want to point out that this particular area, I'm gonna go down there a little later on that area, but where this construction is going on right now, this used to be the site of the Jacksonville Landing. Now, for those who've ever been to Jacksonville or have some familiarity with Jacksonville, whether you're a native or whether you have visited before, everybody knows that Jacksonville Landing was the spot. It was the place to be if you come visit Jacksonville. It's where a lot of people come together or came together, and it was a lot to do. You know, they'll have like events going on pretty much throughout the course of the year. They have Christmas events. You could come to the landing and go skating, and it was a place. You could go shopping, you can eat, and you can just pretty much just relax and just basically enjoy the riverfront view. It was like a riverfront shopping center or entertainment center, if you will. So Jacksonville Landing no longer is there. I can't remember if it was 2017 or 2018, because it's been so long since I've been to Jacksonville. Me and my lady friend came a couple of times to the Jacksonville Landing, and we enjoyed ourselves a couple of times we came, but I just can't remember exactly when it was, if it was 2017 or 2018 when they fully demolished Jacksonville Landing. But there it is. And you could also catch a water taxi to the other bank of the river. So I always thought that was cool. Now, believe me, if the landing was still up, that would be like one of my top suggestions. If I were to suggest anywhere to go in Jacksonville to hang out, that would be like the #1 suggestion. I'm actually, this is my first time coming to downtown Jacksonville ever since it's been demolished. So it actually, there's like an emotional, it's like an emotional time right now for myself, you know. A lot of good memories for the couple of times that I've been there. I mean, I'm not from Jacksonville, so it wouldn't have the same effect on me as it would for a local or native, but it's all good. About a few weeks back, I visited Cincinnati, and I chickened out when I was gonna walk across the Alsop Bridge across the Ohio River. I chickened out, walked a couple of feet and walked back. But see, Alsop Bridge's span is much longer than the Alsop Bridge's span. As we are approaching the south bank of the St. John's, I think I see a couple of water taxis out there. Yeah, I see a couple of water taxis over there. There goes a DoubleTree Hotel. There's an Ameris Bank Tower right there. And connected to the DoubleTree Hotel is probably one of the most expensive restaurants known to mankind, Ruth Chris. There's a collection of buildings over here as well that face the riverfront. Now, real quick, just a little history on Jacksonville. It was originally inhabited by the I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, the Timucua and the Mocama Indian tribe, Native American tribes. We're talking going far back into the 1500s. Then as far as the explorers that came over here, it was mainly the French. The French came to Jacksonville and took over the land from the Timucuas and the Mocamas, because they had an establishment right here along the St. Johns River, as well as the area was presently downtown Jacksonville. So they inhabited all of this land right here, the Timucuas and the Tamanka people. But look at that view of the skyline of Jacksonville from the south bank of the St. Johns River. Now this is known, this fountain right here is called the Friendship Fountain. This has to be the biggest, if not one of, if not the biggest attractions of downtown Jacksonville, specifically the South Bank. So the architect and design was by a local named Taylor Hardwick. He designed and architected this fountain back in 1963. So we're talking 17,000 gallons of water per minute, 100 feet up in the air. Very peaceful, and it's relaxing because it's right here at the Riverwalk, and you can basically bring your significant other, your children, whatever, bring them out here and just listen to the natural calming sounds of the fountains. So that takes care of the South Bank side of the St. Johns River. And I'm gonna head on back to North Bank downtown, get more footage. See you across the bridge. Still on the South Bank of downtown Jacksonville. But before I get back to the North Bank, I wanted to at least get the Treaty Oak at Jesse Ball DuPont Park. So a very important part of history is included in this park. Now get a load of this. Trees have always been a vital element of the Jacksonville landscape. Oaks and pines from forests that once covered the land were cut for lumber and sent around the world. It is said that the Timucua Indians lived in awe of the great oaks. These great trees were honored as the doublet of the world tree, the cosmic tree, or the tree of light. As a sacred tree, the oak was thought to hold within its branches not only the secrets of creation and life on this earth, but also as symbol of promise and immortality. Jacksonville's tradition of maintaining trees in the urban environment began soon after the city was founded in 1822. Live oaks and palms were planted along residential streets. By the time Jacksonville became a tourist mecca following the Civil War, it was known throughout the nation for its magnificent tree-lined streets. In subsequent years, However, urban growth and development greatly reduced the number of trees along city streets and highways. In an effort to reinstate a healthy urban forest, Jacksonville citizens and its agencies began tree planting programs in 1986. So, yes, trees are very much an important part of nature, and it definitely enhances your spirituality and your oxygen the more you're around them. And yes, urban development has diminished largely the amount of trees there are, but Jacksonville, they said, hey, it's very important to maintain these trees throughout the city. It's an urban forest, much like Atlanta. Atlanta is the city of trees. But yes, can you believe this thing is 250 years old? It's still living too. It's just that it's so old that their branches are literally touching the ground. This is why this is such a landmark tree, because it's 250 years old. Wow. But this is the Treaty Oak Park. Well, the Treaty Oak at Jesse Ball DuPont Park. And again, it's on the south bank of the St. Johns River, across from downtown Jacksonville. I'm back downtown Jacksonville on the north bank, and I was, instead of walking across the bridge back across the river, I was gonna catch the Skyway across the river, but come to find out, being that this is Saturday, the Skyway does not operate on weekends unless there is a special event, such as a Jacksonville Jaguars game, perhaps. Now, for those who don't know what the Skyway is, it's a monorail that operates in downtown Jacksonville, across the city, primarily downtown. And it's similar to, I don't know how many people are familiar with the People Mover in Detroit. It's pretty much the same thing. You can catch it's an elevated monorail where it's basically a train, but it operates on one rail. They also have something similar in Las Vegas. They have a monorail in Las Vegas, so that's what Jacksonville has, something like that. It's called the Skyway. So now I'm over on Laura Street in Forsyth. And this is the Visit Jacksonville Visitor Center. It's closed today because it is the weekend. And I spotted my first sculpture. This is called the Laura's Flower, sculpted by Gus and Lena Ocampo Silva, and sponsored by Farrah and Farrah Cultural Council of Greater Jacksonville. That sculpture is really sick. I love that design. It's very quiet in downtown Jacksonville, but there is looks like it's gonna start raining within the next hour or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and get as much footage as I can and get on to the hotel before a heavy downpour starts. But that building right there, that's called the Carling building. It was originally called the Carling Hotel. Matter of fact, let me go closer. As I make my way down Adams Street, yeah, this building right here is called the Carling. What I was just looking at, and it is an historic building that was built in 1925. It was originally a hotel, but now it serves as a residential building. It was the Carling Hotel when it first opened. So let me get a wider view of it. Yeah, that building was the Carling Hotel when it originally opened, but it changed its name to the Hotel Roosevelt years after that. But it also is where a major event, a major catastrophic event that took place in the city. It was where a fire took place in 1963. It was called the Hotel Roosevelt Fire, and the death toll was 22 people, unfortunately. So that's the dark part about that particular building. But other than that, outside of that catastrophic event, it has functioned for many years as a hotel. And that building still stands to this day and operates as a residential building. Some downtown apartments. over here at the corner of Monroe and Laura Street. Now this brings us to James Weldon Park, which is a 1.5 acre public park. Now James Weldon Park has started. It opened as Hemming Park. That's what it used to be called. And it was named Hemming Park in 1899 in honor of Civil War veteran Charles C. Hemming. And Isaiah Hart, who was also credited as the founder of Jacksonville, founded this public square in 1857. So this is one of the major parks in downtown Jacksonville. It wasn't until August 11, 2020, where the Jacksonville City Council voted to change the name of this park in honor of writer and civil rights activist and Jacksonville native James Weldon Johnson. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with the Negro spiritual, Lift Every Voice and Sing. It's a hymn whose lyrics were penned by James Weldon Johnson, to which this particular park is named after. So this marker right here highlights the Jacksonville 1901 Great Fire that took place on May 3rd, 1901 at approximately 12:30 in the afternoon. So 10 blocks northwest of this site at a factory, there was a fire that ignited. So basically some embers had ignited sun-dried moss to be used as mattress stuffing. So it engulfed in flames, and it spread multiple blocks, and there was it was huge clouds of smoke. I mean, carbon monoxide, all that flooded the air. And unfortunately, you know, of course there were a lot of buildings, but a lot of people lost their lives because of the inhalation of carbon monoxide and the toxic fumes that were in the air as a result of the fire. So a very tragic event in the history of Jacksonville. And this right here is Jacksonville City Hall, this building right here. And this station that you see right here, this is what I was alluding to not too long ago about the Jacksonville Skyway, the monorail. This is one of their parks. It's called James Weldon Park Station. and it sits right next to the actual park in which it is named. So a lot of history in Duval County. So this building right here is the MoCA building. MoCA being an acronym for Museum of Contemporary Art. So you have this Museum of Art right here, and the city park, James Weldon Park, a skywalk station, and the city hall, all located right on this city block.